What do you call a loud person from Chicago? Illinoisy. Welcome to Lassoed Loot Volume 278. I went to C2E2 2026 in Chicago. I had the opportunity to go down for one day this past Sunday with my friend Steven. First of all, Steven, thank you so much for going with me. I had an amazing time with you. We were there from the time that they let us in at the beginning of the morning all the way to the end of C2E2 on Sunday, and I'm going to share my loot with you from that event right now. I would say I even surprised myself by only coming home with one comic book. As soon as we got into C2E2, as I was heading over to the Artist Alley area, I detoured to a comic book seller where I picked up New Teen Titans Volume 2, Issue 12 from 1985. This is a Marv Wolfman story. Stan Wutsch is the interior artist. Hopefully I pronounced his name correctly. In this story, Cynthia Cannon is a little girl that lived in the same apartment that Dick Grayson now lives in, but she lived there 50 years prior. She starts showing up to the Titans and they realize that they have a mystery to unravel. I was looking for this comic book specifically because I wanted to gift it to one of my friends whose birthday is June 20th, which is mentioned right there on the cover. Paris Cullens did this and he was scheduled to be at C2E2. So I picked up a copy and headed for his table and couldn't find him. I knew what table he was at, looked for him maybe 8 or 9 times off and on throughout the entire day and never ended up finding him. So I was a little bummed about that. I had 4 items for Paris to sign. Hopefully I'll get an opportunity to do so sometime in the future. I've heard great things about him and I heard that he's very fan reactive. So I was looking forward to meeting him and I was kind of bummed that I didn't get the chance. And maybe in retrospect I shouldn't have bought this book because I don't know now if I'm going to hold on to the book because my friend probably already has it in his collection already, but he wouldn't have a signed copy. So maybe I'll hang on to it and see if the opportunity to get one signed in the future presents itself. When I did make it over to Artist Alley, the number one to meet at C2E2 for me was Nick Robles. Now, Nick is the current artist on Absolute Flash, and he's done a lot of DC work. I needed him for this special Wonder Woman 80th Anniversary 2021 one-shot. This is a Travis Moore Bronze Age themed variant cover. You last saw this book in Comic Book Editions Volume 261. It now has 14 signatures on it with 11 to go. When I originally got this book, which was A-OK to me from Signature King, I put a list together of everyone that I wanted to get signed. One thing I didn't notice was autocorrect, who's a big enemy of mine, played a little havoc with me. I put Nick Robles' name in there and didn't realize that it autocorrected to Nick Robbins. So for the past several years, I've been looking for a Nick Robbins to show up at some comic book convention. I've looked at other places like the East Coast and the West Coast and even overseas and never find a Nick Robbins. That's because autocorrect was tricking me. Just about 2 weeks before the show, I realized what had happened. You don't know how upset I would have been had I known I could have gotten this book signed and missed out on the opportunity because of the autocorrect. I did tell Nick that story and he laughed and he goes, I'll just answer to Nick Robbins from now on. He goes, do you want me to sign this, Nick Robbins? I'm like, no, sign it with your name, which I was really appreciative of. He was so super cool and set the tone for such a great day at C2E2. As a matter of fact, just about everyone I met was just, not just really nice and friendly, but just overly awesome. And it just added to what was such a positive experience for me. This book has been to so many conventions, ones that I've never been to. It's been back and forth with Signature King many times to get additional signatures added to it. Other community members have helped me out by getting it. As a matter of fact, getting Nick Robles on here is the first time I've ever put or acquired the opportunity to put a signature on this book. So here's the 11 folks that I'm looking for to be able to complete this book. If you see any of these folks or know of them coming to a convention near you this year, please get in touch with me so I can see if I can get an opportunity to add another signature to the book. If you look at previous videos of mine where I popped up that list of what creators I'm looking to get to sign this book, you'll even see that I had him listed as Nick Robbins. I just think that that's so funny. I was very appreciative that he was such a good sport about it and got a kick out of it too. And he really kicked off my C2E2 to such a great start. He was so kind and welcoming, as was really everyone that I encountered that day. So once I finished up with Nick, I headed on over to the Unknown Comics booth. So before C2E2, I was like, what am I going to get David Nakayama to sign? And I looked at everything, and I had such a hard time deciding what I wanted because there's so many that I liked. I ended up going with what is right now the current issue of Wonder Woman. It's the David Nakayama DNA variant for Wonder Woman Volume 6, issue number 31. Of course, Tom King, the writer, and Daniel Samfier, the interior artist. This is the beginning of the Wonder War, where we get Matriarch's backstory and how she grew up with Trinity. So I know the Wonder War is something that Tom King, for all 30 issues, has really been inching us towards. This is a big part of, from what I understand, his goal in writing Wonder Woman, is this Wonder War event that is now just kicked off. David Nakayama and I had never interacted with him in any way, shape, or form before meeting him this past Sunday. To me, it felt like he and I mean, we just clicked. And to me, it felt like we were like great friends, just reuniting again. I can't thank him enough for the awesome conversation that we had. Besides getting that DC book signed, I decided to get this signed as well, which was really funny because this is the first time that he had ever seen the book. He hadn't gotten or seen the finished product of it yet. It's Captain Marvel Dark Past, issue number 1. This is a new issue that's out in comic book stores now, and he was kind enough to, when he signed it, to note that it's the first signed one. First time he ever signed this cover, and he looked through it a little bit too. Lucas Wernick does the interior art, and Paul Jenkins is the writer. I don't want to talk about what happens in the story because I don't want to spoil it for anyone. Very spoiler-free, what I will say is there was a previous Captain Marvel series called Captain Marvel Dark Tempest, and I didn't like that at all. I got the first 2 issues, couldn't get into it at all, and just gave up on it, and never even finished the rest of the series, even reading it digitally. This one was not that experience for me. I really enjoyed what happened in this, and I'm curious to see what happens in the future. I think it sets up what's going to be the remainder of this run very well by the end of this issue. So if you're looking for something to give a try to for your new comic book pulls this week, this is one that I do highly recommend. And then David did something awesome for me, some chocolate. I mean, first of all, with me, you can't go wrong with chocolate. And these come from Hawaii. They're chocolate-covered Japanese rice crackers. He pulled them out of his backpack and said, hey, do you want to try some of these? And I was like, well, heck yeah. And I haven't tried them yet, but rest assured, I will be trying them very soon. I just found out, I didn't know where David Nakayama lives, but I did find out that, I didn't know if he was East Coast, West Coast, Midwest. He does have relatives that live not too far from where I live. So that was cool to learn that he has a kind of a connection to the area where I'm living at right now. Like I said, just overall, such a wonderful, awesome experience. And I can't wait till I get the opportunity to spend time with him again because he was amazing. If you ever get the opportunity, make sure to do so. Not only is he talented, but so super friendly as well. Thanks for the chocolates. Headed back to Artist Alley and got me a vintage comic book signed. This one from 1985. It's Detective Comics issue number 554. Klaus Janson signed it for me. He does the cover and the interior on the Batman story. There's a Batman story and a Black Canary story. He did the interior for the Batman story. So I was trying to decide if I was going to have Klaus sign this or sign a Dazzler number 8. But the Dazzler number 8, he just did the inks on the cover, where on this one, he drew the cover and then inked it as well. And I told him my little dilemma that I was having with both of them, but I ended up going with this because it had more of his work represented on the cover, and he really appreciated that. In this story, as you can tell, it's the debut of Black Canary's new costume, her very 80s costume. No fishnets on this one. Do miss the fishnets. Of course, it's an homage cover, too, to Flash Comics issue number 92. Klaus was so nice legend in our business. And I was happy that I took the opportunity to go over and speak to him and get a signature on my book. This is something that I'll always look back at and be very happy that I had that experience. Now, speaking of that Dazzler number 8, there was a Dazzler number 8 involved in my C2E2. I gifted that comic book along with some others to community member Candice Barbosa. So Candice and I had the opportunity to meet face to face for the first time. She was a doll. Loved meeting her fiance as well, and so happy that she would take a few moments out of her C2E2 to come over and visit with me. Candice has been on my channel before. She's been a guest on Fanboys Live and the Retro Review, and I'm sure we'll have her back again. And she and I always talk during the Omni X-Men chat as well. And another case of, okay, first time that we had met face-to-face, felt like we had hung out hundreds of times before. So thank you, Candice, for spending some of your C2E2 with me. I also did tell her that Klaus Janson inked that cover and that he was signing. I'm not sure if she went over and got his signature from him or not. I'll have to follow up with her sometime and find out. You know I was going to see Jenny Frison at C2E2. I mean, that's just a given. Now, what I was going to have Jenny Frison sign is another story. That's another case of, oh my gosh, there's just so much. What am I going to choose? Got a nice personalized autograph on Wonder Woman Volume 2, issue number 9. I guess you would consider this a facsimile. This version with the cover by Jenny was released in 2021 as an Ace exclusive. I talked about that in Comic Book Editions, Volume 56. The original book was done in 1987. Of course, this is the George Perez era of Wonder Woman. And a key issue is this is the first time that Barbara Minerva becomes Cheetah. So Barbara Minerva as a character had been introduced a few issues previous, but she becomes the Cheetah in this special issue. It was nice getting the chance to catch up with Jenny and her husband Steve. They're very kind. I reminded them that I had purchased the Wonder Woman Special Burbank Edition book from them the previous year. And they're like, oh, yeah. And they're like, well, you look familiar too. And they're like, how's the book still treating you? So it's still treating me fine. I'm still very happy it's in my collection. As a matter of fact, if you don't know my 2025 story of acquiring this Burbank book from Jenny Frison, watch my Comic Book Editions Volume 242 video, because it's a long video, but it gives you all the details on how that one ended up coming into my collection. A very cool thing that Jenny Frison does, her first 3 autographs that you want are complimentary. And most people had, offered some type of complimentary autograph if you're just getting just a small amount of book signed, which was cool. So I also had her sign Future State Wonder Woman issue number 2 from 2021. This was an A-OK from Bronze Age Brian. And of course, it's got a great cover. I wanted to maybe stay in the Wonder family, but venture out a little bit more than just Wonder Woman, which is why I chose this book. You can see this being A-OK to me in Comic Book Editions Volume 228. Jenny had some awesome stickers that she designed as well that were free to hand out, and the message behind the stickers I thought was amazing. It's to support people that might not feel some support right now. I'm not going to get political on my channel. I usually don't, and I'm not going to now, but I thought it was very cool what she did, and the stickers were awesome. So thanks for doing that, Jenny. I did make a purchase at her booth, though. I want to thank Tim the Comic Collector. So first of all, on your screen, you're seeing what is inside of this envelope. I haven't opened it up yet. I'm probably going to need some steam or something to open it up carefully because I don't want to destroy it. I don't want to be a savage in opening up and destroying this. But my friend Tim the Comic Collector had tagged me in a post that Jenny Frison had when she announced that she was going to sell these at her booth at C2E2. She limited these to 75 packs. So each pack includes 6 5x7 size postcards of Wonder Woman. 5 are soft touch, and then there's 1 foil embossed postcard. And I was kind of concerned that they weren't, or they might have been sold out before I got there, but there still were some left, and I was able to pick up a pack, and that was easy. Take my money. Easily take my money. And the picture, like I said, that I'm showing you, I took from Jenny's website, so you can see what it looks like inside. And I'm going to carefully find a way to steam this open or something and still protect the envelope. Yeah, another great experience with Jenny Frison and her husband, Steve. So thank you, guys. It was great catching up with them again. Superman and Wonder Woman, issue number 1, I got signed by the writer, Charles Soule. Last year at C2E2, which I covered my last year's C2E2 Holland Comic Book Editions Volume 235, but Charles Soule was there, and I didn't realize that, or I hadn't realized that, you know, he wrote the Superman Wonder Woman, and I didn't have it with me, and I was like, oh, I wish I would have gotten that signed. And for a year, I've carried that FOMO with me. So when I saw that he was back at C2E2 for this year, I'm like, no, I'm not going to carry that FOMO with me another year. I really do want to get this signed. This first issue of Superman Wonder Woman is one of my favorites. I've said this before. The rest of the series, not so much my favorite. I wish that the series had contained the same tone that this story had. You know, they have to catch all the stuff throughout all the Superman titles. And I didn't buy all of the Superman titles. So what might happen at the end of one issue continues in a different book that I didn't get. So by the time I'd get the next issue of this title, they were in such a different place and so much stuff had happened. It made it hard for me as a reader only picking up this title to enjoy as much. But this first issue, oh, the love and the huggy and the kissy that's going on. I'm all about that. It was pretty cool. Let's talk about some favorite people of mine. Michael Conrad and Becky Cloonan. This was my first time getting to meet them face to face. We had done, when they were the current writing team on Wonder Woman, a live stream on Instagram, an Instagram Live on a Wonder Woman day. I got to do it with the both of them, kind of as a moderator. So I had spent some time with them. I had had some friends in the community get some items signed by them on my behalf at different cons. But no way was I going to let those two be at C2E2, let alone the same building I'm in, same room I'm in, and not walk over and introduce myself and get to see them. And they were just as amazing as everyone told me that they would be. You know, I mean, they remembered conversations of things that we had talked about online. And they're so talented and they're so nice. And you put that combination together and it's everything that you want out of a person whose work that you really and truly enjoy. So it was, I mean, we laughed, we talked about stuff. It was just awesome. I couldn't decide what to get signed because, like I said, most of my major picks, the first things that I would have chose, I've had other people in the community get signed on my behalf. But I did have this Nubia and the Justice League one-shot comic book from 2023 that was A-OK to me from Signature King. He had gotten Stephanie Williams to sign it. I showed that in Comic Book Editions Volume 214. Well, Michael and Becky were involved in the first story of this 2 stories, and I thought, well, let's add their signatures onto the cover and just get a few more signatures on one book that I already have established and signed. So that's what I decided to do. In addition to that, last year at C2E2, I started collecting signatures for this, a little bit of a project book. I'm getting it signed in the front interior and the back interior, which has the same image. And since Michael and Becky were Wonder Woman writers for a while, I added their autograph here inside the back cover too. So this is something that I just want to kind of get as many signatures from folks that are Wonder Woman associated creators with as I can. I would have gotten Paris Cullins on this too, since he did some Volume 1 stuff, if that opportunity would have presented itself. It didn't, maybe sometime in the future, but thank you so much, Michael and Becky, for just being the amazing, awesome folks that you are. You can tell that they like people and they just have great interactions with everyone and they make you smile and they make you feel good, and let alone too their talent. I mean, I'm repeating myself now. I just like these people a lot, and I hope that we get the chance to hang out again in person. Online's cool too, but in person's even better, and I look forward to the next chance that opportunity presents itself. So thank you, Michael and Becky. You guys are just the best. Okay, I'm not done yet. Let me tell you something funny. So I walked by Lucas Meyer's table, And at that moment, he didn't have anyone that he was talking to or helping or signing for. So he was kind of on an end cap, on a corner. And I had my book out. So I took my book, and as people were walking by, I stood there like this. And when he saw me, and I was sitting there holding my book just like this, he got the biggest smile on his face. And he's like, come over, come over. So I came over, and we had a great conversation, too. I love this Trinity, Daughter of Wonder Woman. This is a variant that Lucas did the cover of for issue number 1 from 2025. So last year I said, I'm not going to buy these Trinity, Daughter of Wonder Woman comic books because the other Trinity stuff I hadn't enjoyed so much. But I read these digitally, and of course, this story was so good. It's really about Trinity missing her father and actually getting the chance to meet her father through some time travel. And I'm going to end up picking up the rest of these that I had missed and have original copies of the floppies. So Lucas had reminded me too that Belin Ortega, hopefully I pronounced that correctly, one of the writers, that she was also at C2E2, so I went over and added her signature on the cover as well. She had asked me, she'd like, do you like corgis? And I'm like, no, I like beagles a little bit better. And she's like, oh, beagles are cool. So, but both of them were very kind and very awesome. And that was a nice 2 more autographs to add into the collection that I appreciate. I love this Crisis on Infinite Earths homage. I did say to Lucas, I'm like, I bet this was a hardcover to do. And he said, yeah, it was a little bit tougher to do. I can tell with all the detail that you got to put into this. I wrapped up my C2E2 by heading to Darryl Young Designs booth. I knew I wanted to stop by and see him. I've been following him on Instagram for quite some time. He's also Midwest-based, so I thought, there's probably going to be an opportunity where I'm going to get a chance to see him at some type of comic show. And when I saw that he was going to be at C2E2, I knew not only was I going to stop by and say hi, but I was going to stop by and buy some stuff as well. In a previous Comic Book Editions video, I was A-okayed one of his Dazzler for President buttons. I showed that in Comic Book Editions 217. That came from John's Comics with Friends. I wanted some more buttons, but I definitely wanted some prints to add into my collection as well. Of course, I got to have a Wonder Woman for President button. And if you're getting Wonder Woman for President, equal opportunity for Cheetah. I have been a huge fan of Darryl's work for quite some time, and outside of that Dazzler button, this is the first time that I've been able to make a purchase. I did leave a link for his Etsy store in the description for this video, so if you're liking some of the stuff that I'm showing, go over and show some support as well. Also, he has many other characters besides the ones that I'm just showing too. He has buttons, he has some prints available on the store, and he does do a lot of appearances at different conventions, primarily in the Midwest. Besides these 2 DC ladies, I decided that I needed a Marvel button too. And I thought this was cool. Hellcat for President. Heck yeah. So I wanted to show some Patsy Walker love. I got a few extra buttons too that I ended up giving out as gifts. But I almost got myself a Snoopy button. I didn't see that coming until I actually saw the button. And I'm like, oh, I love that so much. But probably next time, and I'm sure that there's going to be a next time that I'm going to be adding more things from Darryl Young Designs catalog into my personal collection. So I got the buttons, and I want to start showing you some of the prints of his that I bought as well. And since we're talking Marvel, let's stay with the Marvel theme. So these are 11 by 17 and Savage She-Hulk. I have said many times here on my channel that I like my She-Hulks savage. Each print is hand-signed at the bottom as well. The coolest thing happened when I went over to Darryl's booth, and this was maybe about 4:15, 4:20-ish with the convention closing at 5. I knew that I wanted to go over and get my prints as my last thing, so I wouldn't have to carry them around for the entire convention or, risk possibly getting them damaged or dropping them or losing them. That would even be worse. So that's why I waited to the end. And Darryl instantly, when I told him who I was, he knew who Magic Lasso was, and we had such a nice visit. But one thing that I loved more than anything, when I went over to his booth, he was busy. And when I say that, and the reason I love that, he was busy selling stuff. And I love knowing that so many other people liked Darryl's artwork as well and wanted to buy some of it and add it into their collection, just like I wanted to. Check out this Phoenix. Look at all the colors going on here. I mean, this was a no-brainer. So I went on Darryl's Etsy store and started looking at his Instagram, which I've also left a link for his Instagram in the description for this video, well before the show. And I thought to myself, you know, I'm probably going to do like 9 prints. I want that many of them. And I want to be able to start swapping them out in the background. As I've said before, I'm planning on hopefully making some type of a move to a new place to live this year, and I'm thinking about what my background for my videos can look like. And I want those to include some of Darryl's artwork, and I want to be able to swap them out. So who are some of my all-time favorite ladies? I thought, well, that's what I want to add into my collection. So that's what I kept in mind as I was starting to choose which characters I would put in there. How's this? I mean, it's Warbird, but to me, it's Black Lightning Bolt Ms. Marvel. As I say, Black Lightning Bolt Ms. Marvel costume is my jam. My other jam is Donna Troy red jumpsuit. That's also my jam too. But I got this nice Ms. Marvel. He also has a Ms. Marvel in her original costume as well. So someday I'm sure I'll probably add one of those into my collection. But getting back to what I was saying before, I went on his Etsy store and looked through the photos of his convention appearances, trying to decide which characters I was going to get. I want to get 9 prints. You know, I want to get some Marvel. I want to get some DC. I think I'm primarily going to do the ladies in these. So I started looking through, and I started making a list, and then you have to do the hardest thing ever, and you have to start cutting from the list so you can end up still staying in budget. And that was the hardest part of it, because I knew if I got to the show without having some type of plan in mind, that I would just start buying stuff, and then later on I'll be like, oh, I had forgotten that maybe I should have gotten this one instead, or... So besides the ladies, I did do a group here. I love this Fantastic Four. And he also has a version of this exact same image, but all of the FF are Green Lanterned out. And I think that's cool. As a matter of fact, I saw someone buy one of those when I was there looking at the items that he had. So I think they bought Fantastic Four, the Green Lantern version, and I know they bought a Galactus and something else that was FF related too. So I'm so happy for Darryl, and I hope that he had an amazing show. I haven't had the chance to reach out to him, but I'm going to, just to tell him how nice it was to meet him and finally see him. And what a cool guy. Talented as well, and truly a cool guy. So let's talk about the DC stuff that I picked out for my prints. Of course, I'm going to get Wonder Woman. That's like a complete given, Wonder Woman. And I love this. This is like my Bronze Age version of Wonder Woman. Speaking of Wonder Woman, this Sunday there is no Fanboys Live in the Retro Review show because of Easter Bunny. But the Sunday after, we're going to do a Supergirl versus Wonder Woman Fanboys Live and the Retro Review show. So you want to stick around and make sure to catch that. The greatest DC comic show on YouTube is Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. Sunday nights, 8:15 p.m. Eastern, 7:15 p.m. Central on my YouTube channel. Our next show will, of course, feature Signature King Tony, and Silver Hair Bronze Age Babe will be on with us as well. I passed on the Supergirl print this time, but she made it pretty far on the list until I had to eliminate her. There's my other jam. I was just talking about her when I was showing the Warbird print. Red jumpsuit, Donna Troy, my jam. So Donna Troy has a April birthday, according to the DC Comics calendar. It happens to be the same April birthday that I share. So Donna Troy is my birthday friend. He has a two-piece Teen Titans set too, kind of like the Bronze Age Teen Titans, and Donna's in the red jumpsuit in that, and I'm hoping to get one of those for my collection sometime in the future. I mean, I would take one of just about everything that Darryl has. I had also noticed, I caught this out of the corner of my eye a little bit as Darryl was getting out some of the prints that I was wanting. I saw a Jocasta, and I don't think there was a Jocasta up above, you know, in the display. If there was, I just missed it. But I don't think she's on the Etsy store either, which started getting me to think, Well, if there's other prints that aren't on the Etsy store, there's other prints that either I've forgotten about or I didn't know were available. Who else is there? I purposely did not ask Darryl about that at the show because I spent so much time narrowing this list down, and I kind of had in mind how I was going to go, that I'm like, don't ask because this could screw up everything that you have planned. Ask them in the future when you're not at a show. Hawkwoman is another one that I wanted to add into. And of course, just because I'm getting so much of the ladies this time doesn't mean that I'm not going to, sometime in the future, have a whole haul full of the guys like Hawkman. And there was a Havoc one that was really, really good too. And believe it or not, there was a Disco Dazzler. And I didn't get her. I already had the button, but I didn't get the actual print. Someday that's going to be mine. There was a Black Canary one that I really liked. A Supergirl one. So lots of good stuff. And then for my last two prints, Justice League. I completed volume 1 of my Justice League run last year. And I thought, well, let's do something to celebrate this a little bit. And here we have many of the Justice League superheroes, as Darryl and I talked about. Definitely the satellite era Justice League that are put together in this one print. And I love this. I would think it would be really cool too if maybe sometime in the future, I don't know if this is something he has planned or not, but maybe if he did some of like the villains that the JLA has fought, like with Starro and some of the Secret Society of Supervillains and some of those characters from the satellite era. And they're all facing the other direction. So you could put those on the wall, and have the heroes facing one way and the villains facing back the other way. That would be really cool. And there's another piece too, like a connecting one. You can. What I love about these pieces is you can use them separately, and they look great. But you put them next to each other, side by side, and they look even better. And I also wonder too if maybe Darryl might do like a Justice League Detroit years, because there's a couple characters from the Detroit, like Vibe and Gypsy and Elongated Man, that he could put together into a print. He has some of these like this for the Avengers too, and I want to get those sometime in my future. It's on my future wish list for when I go shopping at Darryl Young Designs again in the future. Darryl, you are amazing, and my C2E2 started off fantastic. And in the middle of all of it, it just kept getting great, and you made it end on such a wonderful, high, positive note. As I said before, I love seeing all the people that were over at your booth at that time. I love seeing the attention that your artwork deserves, and you're such a cool, kind person, and I wish you all the best, my friend. I truly do. So that's my C2E2 haul for 2026. What do you think? Leave me a comment. Let me know what your favorite was. Let me know if you have any of these in your collection, or if you're planning on putting any in your collection after seeing them in my videos. We can dialogue about all of that, as your comments are welcomed, encouraged, and appreciated. I have to tell you to please subscribe to the channel if you're not already, because I do appreciate that. Give the video a thumbs up, a like, a heart. My Fanboys Live and the Retro Review, we did Birds of Prey to wrap up the entire month of March back issue of the week theme, which was on Women's History Month. Can't do Women History Month, and especially feature the girl groups or teams, without doing Birds of Prey. So that's what we did this week on that short that dropped yesterday morning. Check it out if you haven't already. Happy Easter! Thank you so much for making it to the end of this Lassoed Loot Volume 278 video, where I roped in the best from C2E2 2026. See you again soon.